Hi there, welcome to Wyckoff Technical Analysis session for Ethereum. If you're new to my sessions, here are the key takeaways you can expect from the sessions. So let's dive into the charts. So this is the weekly chart of Ethereum, and currently we are after 2 weeks staying around the key level of $4,000. This is probably the first week that clearly closed below that particular level. There's still around 33 hours left before this week's candle closes. So by that time, we'll know exactly whether it is going to be confirmed. So in terms of Wyckoff stages, previously we already talked about there's a higher chance for sign of weakness to show up around this period. That's at a level of around $3,500. So that was where the automatic reaction was back in late July, early August. Okay, so that's the potential next move towards the next Wyckoff stage while we are going through these kind of LPSY's period. So if I change it to a line chart, you'll see those little peaks that's going on. Alright, so if we look at the candlesticks, you may not see it, but if you see red, white, red, meaning that's a peak over there. The other one over here. Okay, it looks flat when you look at the candles, but if you turn it to a line chart, you can clearly see those lower and lower highs in what a lot of people say, lower lows, lower low, lower highs. All right, then again, lower chance, but still possible for a second test, but as of this moment, since it has a higher tendency to close below the 4,000 key level, I'll adjust this possibility a little because the downside potential is getting higher. So that's the Wyckoff big picture. Before getting to the daily chart, just to take a look at the Bollinger Band and Keltner squeeze. If you're new to this indicator shows us after a squeeze, if you see the shades at the back, for me, I look at it more wide, in a wider sense, when the purple lines and the orange lines are close enough, even if they are not exactly even if the purple aren't exactly fully inside the orange in this case. Yeah, let me enlarge this because a lot of members are watching on a mobile device. So here, if this is what the indicator tells us, those shades at the back, I'll consider the squeeze started 3 to 4 weeks, or even in this case 7 weeks earlier, back in late May instead of mid-July. And then eventually when the squeeze finishes, the force or the pressure built up get released, that we have bigger price swings. However, if you're new to this indicator, don't misunderstood that as after a squeeze, the price must go up. It's not that case. The price can swing downwards as well. So it's just which side start first. This time it started to the upside first and then downside, and then another horizontal period get to close enough for a squeeze, but the price already took up and swing bigger and bigger. So this time, if we look at the purple lines, why I was explaining all that is because the purple lines are getting together to reach the orange. So that's since mid-June we haven't had that kind of situation. So you see from late April all the way till late May, the purple lines came together to reach the orange, and then the price already took off in early July. And now this is the second time after half a year that the purple lines are coming close together to the orange. So expect something bigger for Ethereum price to come. And it's time to get to the daily to see any timing indication. In the daily chart, even the indicator now is showing the squeeze is happening. Okay, so that's going to happen pretty soon, the bigger price swing. Last sessions we talked about potential breakout, and indeed it happened on October 26th. So It's time to adjust these two white lines because these has passed, and based on the latest price actions, the sign of weaknesses are blocking the wick, so let's move them a bit. And this time, if this is really like horizontal, it means it's going to get to a more sideways potential, but it is not as simple as it is, because I want to take a look at what's going on right there. If this is really a downtrend being developed, and the price continues to stay below this yellow line, so the next 3 days will be key, because the price currently tries to go above this yellow resistance line set by the sign of weakness back in September, end of September. Okay, and if it doesn't goes above like what it did on the 24th, just a week ago, and trade downwards into this narrow triangle, it's getting into another decision point around middle of the week, about Tuesday or Wednesday. Either way, like I explained in previous sessions, if it goes up or if it comes down, it doesn't matter much breaking outside of this wedge, because you see those light blue lines, right? Basically, the price is still trading within the downward channel. Okay, so however, the key part is, if it breaks to the downside, it's going to challenge the bottom of the downward channel, as well as this blue key level at around $3,540. Okay, 3,540. That's the blue key level. So there's a double support over there. One is the bottom of the downward channel. The other is the blue key level. When that happens, and well, hopefully it stays above that. Those dual support provides sufficient strength for the price to bounce back to challenge at least this yellow dashed line, and eventually the purple key level. Because when that happens, what's happening over here is that there is a dual resistance. When the price gets to that point, you see the center line of the box, this blue line over here, is crossing this yellow line. So if the price bounces out, there is a likely scenario like what happened just a week ago, that it gets rejected from the center line, even if it successfully passes and closed above, like what happened on the 26th last Sunday, and also the 13th. It went above, closed above, but then immediately the next day or the day after, the price went below the center line again. So the tendency recently, at least for the past 2 to 3 weeks, the price has been trading at the lower half of this downward channel. If no particular good news come out to support the price of Bitcoin, that's the likely scenario where the price is going to continue to trade within that particular area. So what I'm talking about is this. Okay, not Bitcoin, sorry, Ethereum. I was talking about Bitcoin earlier in the other session. So it's the same thing. Basically, if there are no good news coming out, whatever altcoin it is, maybe even Ethereum, it's still going to be suppressed and trade at the lower half of this downward channel. And eventually, if it breaks below the blue key level, we talked about this sign of weakness over here, that's after the upthrust of the distribution. That is where the SOW for this particular scenario is in the daily. So that's the level at around 3,400. Okay, so this line is another intermediate support between those blue levels. Assuming this downward trend isn't broken. So that's where Ethereum is heading to. So this breakout period in the next 3 to 4 days is pretty important. So when we get deeper into November, it's going to get more and more interesting, because even when the price trades sideways, if it breaks the blue key level and we move further into December and the price continues to trade within this lower half of the channel, you see where the trend is going to, right? It's going to keep testing lower key levels. Obviously, the bulls doesn't want to see this, right? So it better stay above this 3540. Otherwise, this trend, as long as the price doesn't break outside of the ceiling, it's going to continue for quite a while. The fortunate thing is that this is more gradual than the uptrend. You see the slope of the uptrend versus the slope of this downtrend. It's I'll say pretty mild, but then look at what happened over here. It was almost the same thing. It went up very quickly during the end of 2024, somewhere between November to December, and then there was a gradual phase all the way into February, and then it comes a steep phase after that. So 2 months, about 2 months of gradual decline, and then another month of very steep decline. Okay, all the way to the spring in April this year. This time we've got this climb, a gradual decline. Hopefully we are not going to see a steep decline next. If that's the case, it's going to repeat what happened late last year, beginning of this year. Alright, so these key dates in November and December is going to tell us, are we going through something similar? So that's Ethereum for now. Even though it's slowly declining, it doesn't mean that the downside risk is getting lower. So trade safe. Remember this friend over here. See you in the next session.